It's one of the hardest pills to swallow, realizing that someone you once loved deeply has truly moved on. If you're stuck in that space between hope and heartbreak, constantly looking for signs they might return, this video is for you. We're breaking down 12 unmistakable signs that your ex is not coming back, no matter how much you still love them. By the end of this video, you'll not only have clarity, you'll be on your way to closure. 1. Master your emotions. Don't let her see you. Sweat in any relationship, especially when emotional games are being played. Your biggest power lies in your ability to control your emotions. Women often test boundaries not to hurt you, but to see if you're grounded, if you're the kind of man who stays calm under pressure. The moment you react, whether with anger, insecurity, or desperation, you give her the upper hand. That's why emotional self-mastery is key. Imagine she gives you the silent treatment or suddenly becomes hot and cold. The average guy might panic, start questioning himself, or chase her for answers. But a stoic man remains composed. He doesn't let confusion or rejection shake his confidence. He understands that not everything deserves a reaction. When you respond with calm and logic instead of emotion, you set the tone. You show that your emotional state is not dictated by her behavior. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings, it means you process them privately and rationally. You show emotional control, not emotional denial. And women respect that. It signals maturity, strength, and independence. In fact, this kind of emotional discipline is what makes a man attractive. It separates you from the rest. The less you react, the more power you hold. She'll realize she can't manipulate you with guilt trips or mind games. You're not an emotional puppet, you're in control. And that alone makes her rethink her strategy and start respecting you on a deeper level. 2. Speak with purpose, not to impress. In a world where everyone's trying to say the flashiest thing or drop the hottest take, a man who speaks with calm purpose stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. Stoic men don't talk just to fill space or seek approval. They speak when it's necessary, and when they do, people listen. This is not about being silent all the time. It's about being intentional with your words. Women, and people in general, can sense when someone is talking just to get a reaction. That kind of energy comes off as insecure. Stoic communication, on the other hand, is measured. You say what needs to be said without trying to control how others respond. You're not trying to impress anyone, you're expressing truth, calmly and clearly. When you stop trying to be clever, charming, or overly agreeable, and instead focus on speaking directly and with authenticity, people start to trust you more. You build quiet authority, and ironically, you become more attractive, not less. So next time you're in a conversation, pause before speaking. Ask yourself, am I saying this to be heard or to be impressive? The Stoic path chooses clarity over charm, substance over style. The right people will recognize and respect that. Speak with purpose, not for attention, and watch how the emotional noise around you fades. 3. Set boundaries once, then enforce them with action. Stoic men don't repeat themselves. When they set a boundary, they don't explain it 10 different ways, hoping it'll be respected. They communicate it once, calmly, firmly, and then let their actions speak louder than any follow-up. If someone crosses the line, they don't argue. They enforce the boundary with consequence. This is where most men go wrong. They talk about standards but make exceptions. They give warnings but never follow through. Emotional players, whether in relationships, family, or the workplace, thrive on inconsistency. They push limits just to see how far you'll bend. A Stoic man doesn't bend. He simply exits situations that don't align with his values. This isn't about being rigid or cold. It's about having enough self-respect to walk away from disrespect. A woman who tests your boundary isn't always trying to hurt you. Sometimes she's testing your strength. She wants to know, can you lead? Can you protect your peace? If the answer is no, attraction fades. So don't overtalk your limits. Show them. Set the boundary once, and if it's crossed, don't debate. Act. Withdraw your attention, remove your presence, or shift your energy elsewhere. You don't owe anyone endless warnings. Your energy is your responsibility. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. 4. Don't explain yourself to people who play games. You don't owe an explanation to someone who's already decided to misunderstand you. When you're dealing with someone who's playing emotional games, manipulating, guilt-tripping, or constantly shifting blame, explaining yourself is like trying to play chess with someone who keeps flipping the board. Stoic men understand that their peace is too valuable to waste on emotional negotiations. They don't get caught up in defending every choice or clarifying their every move. If someone truly respects you, they'll observe your consistency and let that speak. If someone is just trying to provoke a reaction, your silence will frustrate them more than any explanation ever could. This doesn't mean you avoid accountability. It means you stop trying to gain understanding from people who aren't engaging in good faith. When someone is trying to bait you into drama, stay calm, stay grounded. Let your decisions speak for themselves. By refusing to over-explain, you maintain your frame. You protect your energy. And you teach people that if they want access to your world, they have to meet you with clarity, not confusion. So the next time someone pulls emotional tricks to get you to chase, react, or justify, don't bite. You don't owe them your emotional labor. Protect your peace and keep moving forward. 5. Don't chase. Respond with detachment. There's a massive difference between reacting and responding. Chasing is reactive. It's emotional. It says, I need something from you to feel whole. Stoic men never chase. They observe, they assess, and they respond with calm detachment. If a woman pulls away, flirts with someone else, or tries to provoke you emotionally, your first instinct might be to fight for her attention. But here's the truth. The more you chase, the more power you give away. The more detached you are, the more control you regain. Detachment doesn't mean apathy. It means not letting your emotions control your behavior. You still care. You're just not enslaved to outcome. You're not chasing validation or trying to win her back. You simply recognize if something's meant for you, you won't have to force it. This response, calm, clear, and controlled, completely disrupts emotional games. Why? Because games only work when you play along. A woman who's used to emotional chaos will either step up or step out when you stop reacting. Either way, you win. So stop chasing. Let her wonder. Let her sit with your silence. If she respects you, she'll come correct. If not, you've saved yourself time and energy. Detachment is power, and when you master it, you stop reacting to emotional noise and start leading with inner peace. 6. Stay calm when she tries to provoke emotion. One of the biggest tests of your masculinity and mental strength is how you respond when a woman, or anyone, tries to trigger an emotional reaction. Maybe she says something passive-aggressive. Maybe she brings up your insecurities. Maybe she goes cold, flirty with others, or deliberately tries to push your buttons. This is not the time to argue, beg, or react with anger. This is the time to remain grounded. Stoic men recognize these emotional tests for what they are. Attempts to see if you can lead, if you can stay composed, if you have control over yourself. When you rise to the bait, you fail the test. But when you remain calm, you win her respect, even if she doesn't show it immediately. Because women don't just want a man who's strong physically. They want a man who's strong emotionally, who doesn't crack under pressure, who doesn't spiral when things get tense. So take a breath. Stay silent if needed. Let her words float in the air without reacting. Your calm energy will speak volumes. It shows self-control. It shows leadership. It shows that you're not controlled by external noise. And over time, this response creates deep attraction and trust. Because the man who can't be shaken is the man who can lead, not just her, but himself. And that's rare. 7. Reward consistency, not chaos. A lot of men reward the wrong behavior. They chase excitement, mystery, or passion, even when it comes wrapped in chaos. But Stoic men know chaos isn't love, inconsistency isn't mystery, and emotional ups and downs aren't proof of connection. They're red flags. Rewarding chaos only encourages it. If someone disappears and comes back, and you welcome them like nothing happened, you're training them to disrespect your time. If someone causes drama and gets your attention, you're showing them that emotional games work. That's not strength, that's enabling. Instead, reward consistency. Reward calm energy. Reward those who communicate clearly, show up reliably, and don't play games. Because the truth is, what you tolerate is what you'll get more of. And what you reinforce becomes your reality. This doesn't mean you become rigid or overly critical. It means you become selective. You guard your energy. You understand that peace is the highest form of power, and you only invite people into your space who contribute to it. Over time, this creates better relationships. It builds respect, and it protects your mental clarity. So don't fall for the roller coaster. Don't confuse chaos with chemistry. You deserve calm. You deserve consistency. And it starts with you setting that tone and never lowering it. 8. Maintain calm in heated moments. A Stoic man doesn't let chaos dictate his reactions. When she's upset, passive-aggressive, or testing your patience, the natural urge might be to fight fire with fire. But that's exactly what she may expect, and it's where emotional games gain traction. The Stoic alternative is composure. You become unshakable, not cold, but steady. When a woman sees you staying calm in moments when most men would lash out or crumble, it sends a message. You're not easily swayed, and you won't be manipulated. Emotional control is a key signal of inner strength. When you don't react impulsively, you take back power in any interaction. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you channel them through reason. Maybe she tries to get a rise out of you by comparing you to someone else or withdrawing affection. The Stoic doesn't beg, chase, or explode. He listens, speaks when needed, and leaves space for the other person to recalibrate. Often, your silence speaks louder than any emotional outburst. This level of control can feel intimidating to someone who thrives on drama. But it also earns you respect from people who seek emotional maturity. Relationships have storms. The Stoic becomes the anchor. By mastering calm during emotional turbulence, you not only avoid unnecessary damage, you prove you're a man who leads himself before trying to lead anyone else. 9. Respond, don't react. There's a massive difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is instinctual, response is intentional. A Stoic man always chooses to respond with thought, not react with emotion. Let's say she throws a jab, accuses you unfairly, or creates a scene. Most men react. They raise their voice, argue, defend their ego. But that's exactly how emotional manipulation wins. It provokes you to act on impulse. A Stoic understands that knee-jerk reactions are a trap. Instead of rushing to defend himself or match her emotional intensity, he pauses. He assesses. He responds with measured clarity. Sometimes that means calmly stating facts. Other times it means saying nothing at all. The key is control, emotional, mental, and verbal. Responding doesn't make you passive. It makes you precise. It means you choose your battles wisely and never let temporary emotions steer permanent consequences. You become more powerful when you can sit in discomfort and still operate with purpose. Emotional games feed off reactivity, but when you respond with calm, consistent behavior, you break the cycle. You remove the reward of chaos, and that forces the dynamic to shift. Over time, she'll realize emotional outbursts or tests don't control you. They only expose themselves. Mastering the art of response turns you into a man who can handle any situation without losing composure. That's rare, and in a world full of reactive men, that makes you unforgettable. 10. Set clear boundaries. Boundaries aren't about control, they're about self-respect. A Stoic man sets clear, unshakable standards for how he expects to be treated. When someone crosses those lines, he doesn't beg, argue, or guilt trip. He simply enforces the boundary with quiet strength. This is how emotional games lose their power. A woman might test limits, not always to manipulate, but to see if you're solid or flexible under pressure. If you let things slide to avoid conflict, like disrespect, emotional blackmail, or inconsistent behavior, you're teaching her that your boundaries are negotiable. But a Stoic doesn't budge just to keep the peace. He speaks clearly and acts consistently. For example, if she tries to play silent treatment games, the Stoic doesn't chase. If she flirts with others to spark jealousy, he doesn't retaliate, he distances. Boundaries don't have to be loud, they just have to be real. You don't explain your worth, you show it through what you allow. Having boundaries makes you more attractive. It shows you're not afraid to lose someone who doesn't respect your values. You're not driven by fear or insecurity. You're guided by principle. Ultimately, boundaries aren't about her, they're about you. They're the line between who you were and who you're becoming. And once you commit to honoring them, emotional games start to fall apart. Why? Because people can't manipulate a man who knows what he stands for and refuses to compromise it. 11. Detach from outcome. One of the most powerful Stoic strategies is detachment from outcomes. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means your emotional state isn't tied to how things turn out. Whether she stays or leaves, praises or criticizes you, the Stoic remains centered. His value doesn't rise or fall based on someone else's behavior. Emotional games are fueled by your need for validation. If she senses that your happiness depends on her approval, she has leverage. But if you're emotionally independent, the game stops being fun. You no longer chase, beg, or fear rejection. That changes everything. Detachment is not about being heartless. It's about being grounded. You're fully present, but not desperate for a specific result. You enjoy the moment without clinging to expectations. This makes your energy more attractive and less anxious. Women can feel that. If she threatens to leave or tries to manipulate your emotions, you don't panic. You understand that life continues with or without her. That mindset is rare and magnetic. Detachment gives you freedom. You stop trying to control what you can't and start mastering what you can, yourself. When you let go of needing a specific outcome, you reclaim all your power. You stop being reactive and start being strategic. Emotional games require your emotional investment to work. But once you detach, you're no longer a player in her game. You're the one rewriting the rules. 12. Always lead with purpose. A Stoic man doesn't follow trends, he follows purpose. He knows who he is and what he's aiming for, and no emotional distraction can pull him off course. This is the ultimate trump card against emotional games: unwavering direction. Many men get caught up in relationship drama because they lack a mission. They make the woman their purpose, so when she pulls away or tests them, they spiral. But a Stoic man never makes a relationship his entire identity. He includes it in his life, but doesn't revolve his life around it. When you have goals, values, and a vision, everything else becomes secondary, including manipulation. Emotional games start to look childish when you're focused on building something meaningful. You're not emotionally available for chaos because you're too busy moving forward. Purpose brings clarity. You're not easily distracted, flattered, or derailed. You don't need to chase validation when you're already fulfilled. That grounded energy makes you stand out. It communicates confidence without arrogance, direction without desperation. Even in conflict, your purpose guides you. You ask yourself, does this situation align with my mission or distract from it? That filter helps you avoid traps and stay true to your higher goals. When a woman senses that you're led by purpose, not emotion, she either levels up or steps aside. Either way, you win. Because the Stoic man doesn't chase, he attracts by staying on his path. Here's the truth. The modern world doesn't need more men who react emotionally, chase validation, or lose themselves trying to win someone's attention. It needs men who lead themselves first, men who embody calm, clarity, and control. Stoic strength isn't about being emotionless, it's about mastering your emotions so they serve you, not sabotage you. If you've ever found yourself tangled in emotional games, understand this. The moment you stop playing, the game ends. The moment you start leading with purpose, the distractions fade. And the moment you enforce your standards with quiet confidence, everything around you shifts. Women begin to respect you more. People begin to trust your energy. And you begin to attract the peace, respect, and clarity you've always deserved. So remember, be calm in chaos, clear in your boundaries, and committed to your path. Let your silence speak when needed. Let your actions lead louder than your words. And above all, never trade your inner peace for temporary validation. If you found value in this message, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more grounded advice on masculinity, mindset, and modern relationships. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these 12 strategies hit the hardest for you. Until next time, stay stoic, stay sharp, and never let emotional games define your worth.